You know, despite it all, I still love Commander precons. They bring us playable right... They give us playable right out of the bus, close enough, right out of the box Commander decks, and also oftentimes awesome new designs that we can add to our existing decks or even build around. But we shouldn't forget that there's an entire set of about 1 million new legendary creatures, and this video is going to take a look not at what Commander precons have brought us, but at the best new, at the best new commanders from March of the Machine, singular, for you to build a commander deck with. This is not the video about the best new for the 99. This is the one about what are the best new commanders. We've got 5 of them. We've got 10 of them, but we're gonna frame it as a top 5 for branding purposes. So presented here are the top 5 best new commanders for Commander from March of the Machine. That's it. That's the intro. Who is the best commander? It might surprise you. But first, did you know you are sexy, you are good looking, and people enjoy being around you? Well, it's true, and it's true no matter what kind of clothes you like to wear, how you style your hair, or even if you have no hair at all. You are awesome. You are gorgeous. Do your thing, friend. But what happens if you like having a head of hair and presenting yourself in that way, but Mother Nature has another idea? Well, that's where Keeps, sponsor of this video, comes in. Did you know 2 out of 3 guys will experience hair loss by the time they're 35? Keeps offers clinically proven, research-backed treatments to stop hair loss and improve hair growth. Keeps is a subscription service that helps you keep your hair. They offer clinically proven treatments to combat the symptoms of hair loss, and these treatments are delivered straight to your door. What's more, they're super affordable, typically half the cost of pharmacy prices. What's more, all treatment plans are personalized and recommended by a licensed medical provider. And like I said, it all comes right to your door. And it's proven results. Most Keeps customers noticed results within 6 months of starting treatment. Fast, easy, private, and all at about half the cost of a traditional pharmacy. So whether you're looking to prevent hair loss, stimulate hair growth, or just take better care of the hair you have, Keeps has you covered. Hair loss stops with Keeps. To get a special offer, go to keeps.com/Tolarian or click the link in the description. That's KEEPS.com/Tolarian. Thank you, Keeps, for sponsoring this video. Let's start off our list as we often do with the honorable mentions. Remember, we are only covering possible commanders from the March of the Machine set. This is not about anything that was found in the Commander precons, but there's just so much on offer here that I had to do an honorable mention, or 5? That's right, we have 5 honorable mentions. And they are each of the Phyrexian Praetors from March of the Machine. Elish Norn, Jin-Gitaxies, or is it Gitaxies? I say GIF, not GIF. Anyway, that's another video. Sheoldred, Urabrask, and Vorinclex are each, in their own right, an awesome monocolored commander that you might want to build a deck around. Now, these 5 Praetors go all the way back to 2011's New Phyrexia, where they were first introduced. Over the years, these terrifying foes plagued not only the multiverse, but our battlefields as well. We've seen some different forms come about, but now March of the Machine brings us what are quite possibly their ultimates, as no additional epithets, descriptors, or titles are needed here. These are the Praetors at their pinnacle, and they need only their Yogg-given names to convey their grandeur. Located on the backside of each of these transformable creatures also lies their very own enchantment saga, making them not only wonderfully versatile commanders, but flavorfully creating the incredible sense of scale to their life and legacy. Elish Norn transforms into the Argent Etchings, showcasing the ultimate mono-white experience of vigilance, stacks, creature tokens, anthem, double strike, and even board wipe. While in blue, we have Jin-Gitaxies. I'm gonna say Gitaxies, and I will continue to say Jif, yog darn it. Well, no matter how you pronounce it, once this blue Praetor transforms into the Great Synthesis, you'll be imbued with extreme card draw, a board bounce for stabilization, and most preposterously, omniscience in the command zone. If ever there was a reason to build mono blue and Commander, Jin-Gitaxies is it. In black, we have the one and only Shieldred transform into the true scriptures, and is truly a harbinger of death. After forcing opponents to make a sacrifice, this saga continues to destroy even more creatures, force opponents to discard and mill, and finally, and ultimately, and extremely replicate the oft-game-winning Rise of the Dark Realms. Shieldred will be whispering no more with this game-changing effect. Fan favorite Urabrask comes into red and transforms into the Great Work. Both sides of this card greatly incentivize the impulse, rapid-fire gameplay mono-red now revels in. We'll deal damage to our opponents, enjoy a ritual of treasures, and then let the fireworks fly when we recast all of our instants and sorceries from the grave. Last but certainly not least, from green, Vorinclex transforms into the Grand Evolution, providing us the mono-green dream of land tutor, free creatures, +1/+1 counters, and a vicious fight ability that will allow us to annihilate our opponent's defenses. While many Magic the Gathering players often try and avoid monocolored commanders, I believe each of these Praetors deserves an honorable mention as one that is worthy to build a monocolored commander deck around. The power of the Praetors is indeed undeniable, inevitable. Their abilities and synergies could fill an entire video by themselves, but let's not get lost in their splendor, because we have to cover the actual top 5 best new commanders from March of the Machine. Our true list of best commanders from March of the Machine begins at number 5, with Omnath, Locus of All. The saga of the Jelly Bean is now complete, and the ending of his story is a tragedy that grants chromatic players the commander they've always wanted, but never quite asked for. Omnath, Locus of All is a 4/4 legendary Phyrexian elemental that costs 1 white, 1 blue, 1 Phyrexian black, 1 red, and 1 green mana. Omnath states, if you would lose unspent mana, that mana becomes black instead. Additionally, at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, look at the top card of your library. You may reveal that card if it has 3 or more colored mana symbols in its mana cost. If you do, add 3 mana in any combination of its colors and put it into your hand. If you don't reveal it, put it into your hand. What I love about this version of Omnath is just how incentivized we are to fill our deck with colorful spells, specifically 3 colors and up. And what first comes to mind are the 20 available 3-colored charm spells that, when revealed with Omnath's ability, will let us add 3 mana of any combination and cast our charms for whichever mode we need most. Spells like Abzan Charm and Esper Charm are able to provide us our card draw, but as modal spells mean that when card draw isn't needed, they have other uses for us. Meanwhile, Crocus's Charm and Grixis Charm are straight up removal. They're just all flavors of removal, which makes them super versatile. A single spell that can bounce a creature, destroy a creature, or destroy an artifact is the huge benefit you get by having so many colors at your disposal. The higher critical mass we have of these charm spells, the more likely Omnath is to reveal them and grant us that invaluable influx of 3 mana. But remember, just because we've added that 3 mana doesn't mean we need to spend it. Thanks to Omnath's ability to retain and convert unspent mana into black, we can continue to bank it for an explosive turn later on, with game-ending sorceries like Torment of Hailfire and Exsanguinate. Contrary to the colorful spells that make up the rest of the deck, Omnath has indeed gone full evil, and so too shall our game-ending plays be. With the release of Dihada, Binder of Wills, the archetype of Mardu Reanimator was so refined that an equally viable alternative seemed highly unlikely. At least that was the case before the number 4 commander on this list arrived. Presenting Crocsa and Kunaros, who are combining their strengths and giving Mardu Reanimator a fresh coat of paint, one that doesn't require us to focus on legendary creatures like Dihada does. These two are a 6/6 legendary Elder Giant dog with Vigilance, Menace, and Lifelink. They cost 3 colorless, 1 white, 1 black, and 1 red mana to cast and state. Whenever Crocsa and Kunaros enters the battlefield or attacks, you may exile 5 cards from your graveyard. When you do, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. With payoff for filling our grave being in the command zone, this game plan is sure to be a reliable one. Let's spend early game using self-mill spells, Out of the Tombs, and Cemetery Tampering to give us a continuous supply of graveyard fire fodder that we can now exile for Crocsa and Kunaros' ability. As for what we reanimate alongside them, oh, the choices, the choices. I say we lean into creatures that give redundancy to our graveyard-filling endeavors. Doom Whisperer, for example, and Angel of Suffering are going to be knockout targets every time, as they both give us even more ways to overstuff our graveyard via a repeatable surveil ability. Not to mention Angel of Suffering's ability to turn all damage we take into mill instead. Outside of our reanimation domination, we also mustn't forget the phenomenal keywords and stat line attached to Crocsa and Kunaros. Not only does Vigilance and Menace make it a great attacker and blocker, but Lifelink is going to give us the replenishment needed to utilize health-demanding necromancy like Command the Dreadhorde and Reanimate. With the first half of this list being exclusively terrifying monsters, including ones that literally crawled out of the pits of hell, for the halfway point on our list, I'd like to present a card with a much lighter tone. Here's a pair-up that contends for the most adorable of the entire set. Coming in at number 3, we have Inga and Asika. Inga and Asika are a 4/4 legendary human god that costs 2 generic, 1 blue, and 1 green mana. They have 2 stellar abilities. The first stating, creatures you control have vigilance, and tap, add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast a creature spell. Their second ability states, whenever you cast a creature spell, if 3 or more mana from creatures was spent to cast it, draw a card. The design team at Wizards of the Coast has done an excellent job lately at curtailing the reputation that they are nothing but value engine .deck. From Tanos the Toy Maker to Ivy, Gleeful Spell Thief, to Volo, Guide to Monsters, I genuinely love how these new Simic commanders compel us to build with less genericism in mind. Inga and Asika compel me to build differently too, and what I'd really like to do is include an amalgam of Death Touch creatures to go alongside them. Death Touch creatures tend to do their best work as blockers, and because of that we often don't swing in with them for what could be game-changing cumulative damage. Well, thanks to Inga and Asika granting all our creatures vigilance, suddenly our ultimate blockers can protect our life total even after they swing in for damage during combat. Needlethorn Drake, Deadly Recluse, and Icefang Kuatl are great low-mana options to get our early games started. And of course, we have access to dozens, literally dozens of mana dorks to ramp up the action. If we want to draw cards, our commander does require us to include a decent number of 3 mana value or higher creatures. And I would definitely say that Sumberwald Sage and Llanowar Tribe are auto-includes here. Not only are they capable of triggering our card draw when cast, but both have mana abilities that instantly provide the 3 mana from creatures that Inga and Asika requests. To complete the aforementioned Death Touch package, let's finally include the iconic Hornet Queen. Hornet Queen, can you believe she's green? Who alongside Inga and Asika not only creates a rigid line of attackers and blockers, but a hefty supply of mana dorks to boot. All right, let's get down to business. Who are the top 2 best new commanders for Commander from March of the Machine? Well, you know, Tali, Primal Storm, has been a beloved commander staple ever since it appeared in 2018's Rivals of Ixalan. Perhaps, though, a little too beloved, as this card has been printed to death in at least 6 different commander precons. After 5 years stampeding upon and stealing the top cards of so many players, the time has come for Tali to receive a well-deserved and complete upgrade. Enter our number 2 pick on the list, Tali, Primal Conqueror. Tali, Primal Conqueror is a 7/7 legendary elder dinosaur with trample that costs 5 generic and 2 red mana. Its first ability states, when Tali, Primal Conqueror enters the battlefield, each player exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. You may cast any number of spells from among the non-land cards exiled this way without paying their mana costs. Tali's second activated ability asks us to pay 9 generic and 1 Phyrexian green mana in order to transform Tali, which of course you can activate only as a sorcery. Once transformed, this commander becomes Tali Primal Sickness, an 11/11 with trample and indestructible that states, whenever Tali Primal Sickness deals combat damage to a player, they get that many poison counters. Both sides of this commander are an entire game plan unto themselves, and I think being able to pivot from one plan to the other during a single game is downright wicked. To optimize the front half of Tali, let's pair it alongside cards that will yield us more enter the battlefield triggers than just our initial cast. cast. Conjurer's Closet, for example, will let us repeat Atali's enter the battlefield on the end step, and Panharmonicon will double the effect every time it triggers. Helm of the Host and Blade of Selves, favorites of mine, are equipment options, with Helm of the Host creating one Atali token on each of our combat steps, while Blade of Selves will put a token that's a copy of Atali, tapped and attacking for each opponent other than the defending player. The amount of value we can take from opponents' decks is a win con unto itself, but if for some reason this plan is faltering, such as if Elish Norn shows up, we can always sink 10 mana into our transformation. As an absolute choice nod to the notorious Blightsteel Colossus, Atali, Primal Sickness, when unblocked, is capable of removing a player from the game in a single attack. Thank you, Poison Counters. While our number 2 commander showed us complex design with tons of words can be done well and right, our number 1 pick shows that simplicity is just as welcome and just as appreciated in new card designs. Let's take a look. You better believe the number 1 spot on this list is a vanilla creature. It is with great delight and with no shame that my choice for the best new commander from March of the Machine is Yargon Multani. Yargon Multani are an 18/6 legendary frog spirit elemental that costs 3 generic, 2 black, and 1 green mana to cast. Who says the perfect creature doesn't exist? Where one Impervious Greatworm held the record for highest power ever printed on a creature, and before that Emrakul herself, it is now Yargon and Multani who take the mantle. The Mad Lads actually did it! 18 freaking power! Come on, it's a great pick. The goal with this commander is simple and quite frankly doesn't get old. Thanks to commander damage, Yargon and Multani are a mere 3 power away from one-shotting a player straight to the KO screen. Let's guarantee that happens as reliably as we can. The first thing we need to address is our commander's critical lack of evasion or trample. We won't be getting far as long as it can be chump blocked by any old 1/1. So let's give Yargon and Multani some low to the ground, effective options like Rancor, Audacity, and a nice pair of Trailblazers boots. Honestly, half of my Thrun deck can go in here. Do you just keep a single copy of cards these days to switch between multiple commander decks? I've found it's pretty cost effective. Little annoying, but you save a lot of money. Anyway, in conjunction with these spells, it will take but 1 boost in power from Choose Your Weapon or Unnatural Growth for us to swing in for a hilarious 40 or more commander damage. But Voltron strategies aren't the only way to take advantage of Yargon and Multani's ridiculous stat line. Cards like Gulta, Primal Hunger, and the Great Henge get incredibly cheap when our commander is on the board. How does a 12/12 Trampler or one of the best green artifacts of all time for 2 mana sound? Sounds nice. We can also use Yargon and Multani to make a massive amount of mana. Traverse the Outlands for 18 basic lands onto the battlefield tapped, or use Selvala, Heart of the Wilds, to pay 1 green mana and tap for 18 mana in any combination of colors. We can even go wide with token generators like Fungal Sprouting, Tend the Pests, or Ghoul Collar Gissa, making 18 Saprolings, Pests, or Zombies. Tend the Pests and Gissa ask us to sacrifice our commander, but with enchantments like Kaya's Ghost Form and Minion's Return, we don't even lose it when we do. After that, how about we hit our opponents with an overwhelming stampede for a game-ending swing? Jared, Golgari Lichlord, is another strong sacrifice outlet that cares about Yargon and Multani's preposterous power. Sacrifice our commander for a ridiculous 18 damage to each opponent. 18 damage not enough? How about we just pay 3 more mana and do it again, with the help of one of the aforementioned enchantments. I'd also be remiss if I didn't mention a few cards that in conjunction with Yargon and Multani create some of the most explosive card draw options in the game. Return of the Wild Speaker, Garruk Primal Hunter, and Rishkar's Expertise are the 3 spells that will allow us to draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures we control. With multiple spells capable of drawing 18 cards, you can bet Thought Vessel and Reliquary Tower are justified here, guaranteeing our hands stay stacked and our game state imposing till the very end. If you think it's absolutely ridiculous of me to choose Yargon and Multani as the best new commander from all of March of the Machine, just wait until you see my $45 build your own precon deck on it. As our honorable mentions of the Praetors show, we can have powerful, complex cards cards that maybe read a little bit like VCR instructions, but do all sorts of wondrous things. But as Yargon Multani show, sometimes you just need to talk softly and carry a big commander on a stick. You know, with every set now designed in part to involve Commander players, I have to confess that it has become quite difficult to narrow down my list to only 5 commanders. I mean, I actually presented 10, and I could have gone further, and many of you are probably screaming that my number 1 pick was a meme, and that there are a million better commanders. Not a million, 100, well, not 100, at least 10 better commanders than Yargon Multani that could have had that number 1 spot, and you're probably right. In fact, I'd now really like to hear from you. Who do you think is the best new commander from March of the Machine, and why? Let me know in the comments below. But either way, I do hope this video, like all of my videos, has been of some help to you. You can help me out greatly, not by subscribing, not by hitting like, not by posting a comment, though of course do all of those things, but just by watching another one of my videos. Did you miss one, or have you maybe been away? Maybe there's one you'd like to rewatch, I don't know. Watch one more video, because that's what really helps right now. Right now, you can watch one. We got a new Shuffle Up and Play. We did an Is It Worth It for Commander. There's this format called Popper. We did a video on that. Just watch one more. There you go. What's one more? One more can't hurt. Helps me out. And hey, remember baby, you're sexy with long hair or no, but if you have a head of hair and you want to keep it, but Mother Nature has different plans, take control and keeps that hairline with Keeps. It's a tool for you to use to present yourself the way you want to be presented, all while working with licensed professionals and at a great savings over those big name brands. Keeps has you covered. Hair loss stops with Keeps. To get a special offer, go to keeps.com/Talarian or click the link in the description. That's KEEPS.com/Talarian. Thank you, Keeps, for sponsoring this video.
Next time on Shuffle Up and Play.
Today, we are playing with $50 budget decks. It's Budget Commander with Budget Commander.
Hi, my name is Tomer from MTG Goldfish. My commander is Min, Wily Illusionist.
Yeah, hi, I'm Joey. I am playing my baby lasagna.
My name is Alec, and today I'm playing Satoru Umezawa.
My commander is Helena and Elena. So these are what Canadians call biscuits.
No, these are what Canadians call bribes.
Excuse me.
All right, that needs to die just so that reference can die.
I didn't want you to draw 14 cards. That's a lot of cards.
But Joey,
Just to send a message, attack you with my ornithopter.
no way.
What?
What?
For 0.
I'm a method actor. I'm like Christian Tesseract. Bale.